What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. I'm Wes, aka Mr. Budget Watch, and today we have a brand new review of this Pagani GMT. So this is the PD-1706. As you can see by the title, this watch does have a lot of issues, and I do mean a lot. So anyway, let's get into the review and, start off with the sizes. So this watch measures in at 40mm diameter, and that is the case diameter. We have a standard 20mm lug width. Thickness is 14mm with that domed crystal. We have a lug to lug of 47.5, so very, very nice and compact, so it's not overly large. We have a domed sapphire crystal. You can just see it distorting the dial a little bit, and it is sapphire, and as you can see, it does protrude above the bezel quite a fair ways. We have a full 316L stainless steel case and bracelet, which I'll talk about in a little bit. 200 meters of water resistance, and it weighs 192 gram on the standard bracelet. So let's talk what issues I'm having with this watch, because there are a few. First one we're actually going to talk about is the bezel, and it actually is not perfectly aligned. It looks like they've taken a leaf out of Seiko's book and messed up the alignment ever so slightly. It's not massively, but it is ever so slightly misaligned. You can just see it's a little bit to the left, a little bit of an issue, but it's not a deal breaker, but it is a bit annoying. So you can see we've got the Coke bezel insert, and it is aluminium. Really nice. It's got like a really metallic, glossy finish to it, and it just plays with the light so nicely. It's really, really cool. So yeah, it's got like a coin edge as well, which does provide a good amount of grip. We'll talk a little bit more about that in use. This bezel insert is also fully loomed as well, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So moving inwards, you can see we have a simple printed minute track. It is white, and it does contrast very nicely against that dial. As for the indices, we've got a applied indices all the way around, apart from at the 3 o'clock where we've got a little date window. Now the date window is not bordered, unfortunately, but it is contrasting in white, so it is quite easy to see. So indices wise, we've got circles everywhere apart from at the 6 and 9 o'clock where we have applied batons, and then we have a triangle at the 12 o'clock. Then underneath the 12 we've got Pagani Design printed, as well as the logo, and then above the 6 we've got GMT automatic, water resistant, 200 meter, 600 feet. The dial colour is actually a little bit strange. In some lighting situations, as you can see now, it looks very, very grey, but if you go out a little bit, you can see it looks black. So I don't know whether this is like a dark grey dial that shifts between like a lighter grey and a darker grey. I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's listed as black, but like I said, in some lights it's that pale. It looks almost grey, so I'm not really sure what to make of that. So moving on to the handset, you can see we've got that traditional Tudor style snowflake. So we've got the iconic hour, and we've got a fence post, and then we've got a little snowflake there. And then we have, of course, that red GMT, which really nicely matches with that bezel insert. Moving outwards, you can see on the crown we have that little red accent, which again ties in really nicely with the second hand. And of course, that bezel insert just ties it all together. I know some people aren't a fan of it, but I quite like how it works together. I don't think it would work on any other colourway, maybe the Pepsi one. Moving on to the case, you can see we've got some very nice horizontal brushing and that little slither of high polish that just separates the side of the case with the top of the lugs, and it's very, very nicely done. The brushing is good quality, it's really nice and smooth. So yeah, very, very impressed there. The tops of the lugs are also brushed, and again in the same quality as the side, really nice and smooth, and it is more of a circular brushing than anything else. And I do like the lug design as well, but of course Pagani can't really take credit for that because it is a Tudor design. So looking at this side, you can see we've got no crown guards, and then we've got a signed crown. The crown is really nice. Again, like I said already, we've got that little accent which just adds a nice pop of colour interest there. Very, very impressive. Flipping round to that case back, you can see we have a screw down case back, and then we've got some information around the edge. We've got a mixture of high polishing, brushing, and then this sort of like bead sandblasted effect, which is really, really nice. We've got the Pagani logo, their branding, Sport, and PD-1706 all on the back as well. It's a very, very nice looking case back. It's not overdone, but it is really nice. So you can also see it's got that little radial effect to it as well when you twist it in the light. Very, very nice. So all in all, for the build quality and everything, I'm impressed. There is, yes, of course, that QC issue with the alignment, and we've also got one other issue with the bezel I forgot to mention, and that is the fact that it's wobbly. So if I give it a little twist, you can just see there is quite a lot of play in that bezel. Now, I did actually reach out to the supplier who sent me this watch when I bought it. And they did give me a partial refund for that, which I thought was quite generous. But I actually wish I'd have held off and asked for more, because we do have more issues. So let's move on to the bracelet. Right guys, so here we have the bracelet that comes with the watch as standard. Now, I do really like this bracelet, but there's one reason why I took it off. So I'll just show it you in more detail and then I'll explain why. So you can see we've got a brushed clasp with the engraved Pagani Design logo. And you can see we flip it open and it is milled. Really quite nice, no complaints there. Everything feels really nice and tight. We've got a little slither of polish and then high polish sides, a few little micro adjusts, double pushers. So there's nothing really majorly wrong in the clasp department. Then we get onto the actual links themselves, and you can see they are done in a Tudor style with the fake rivets, high polish. So again, nothing really majorly wrong there. And then it's the same story at this side and then at this side. And then you can see it's brushed on the inside, stainless steel. So we've got no complaints there. So then we've got the little end link, solid, held in place by the spring bar, so it does actually come off separately. Not my favourite design, I will admit, but very, very nice. Fits the watch perfectly, so I've got no complaints there either. The complaint I do have is with one of these screws. That one. It's stuck. I have tried and tried. I've tried everything I can think of to get that screw out, but it basically comes out so far, and then that's it. It just gets stuck. So unfortunately, this bracelet is a little bit too big for me. That is why I decided to put it on a canvas strap. Now, I did really want to use these bracelets because I know from the previous Pagani I reviewed that they're very, very comfortable. So I was a little bit disappointed when I couldn't actually size this one up for me perfectly. Yes, I did try it on the last adjustment hole as well, but it was still too big for my 6-inch wrist. So I was a little bit annoyed. And unfortunately, I left it a little bit too late, discovered it too late to actually get a partial refund for this as well, because for me, it's useless. For someone else, it'll be fine. I've still got all the spare links. So if someone's got a thicker wrist than me, then, you know, it'll be perfectly fine for them. But for me, unfortunately, it's no good. So I was a little bit ashamed. If you want to see what the bracelet's like, then you can check out my previous Pagani video, because the bracelet is basically the same, just a little bit smaller. So we're not really going to talk about comfort too much, because obviously I couldn't try it on the stock bracelet, but it is a very, very comfortable watch. It wears, I would say, a little bit better actually than the other Pagani I did a video on. I think it's, you know, it's better than that. I think it's, it wears a lot nicer. It's a much more comfortable watch. And I think it's due to the size of it. I think it's actually smaller as well, so it fits my wrist a little bit better. It will fit thicker wrists as well, you know, up to 7-8 inch, no problem whatsoever, and it will fit on the bracelet as well. But yeah, it is a very, very comfortable and you know, ergonomic design. Again, that's all down to Tudor though. That's nothing to do with Pagani. But Pagani have done a good job of, you know, replicating that and doing a really good job of making a comfortable watch body. So comfort, you know, I've got no complaints at all. Especially on this canvas strap, it's really nice and comfortable. I've tried it on a NATO, I've tried it on a leather, and it's really comfortable on all of them. I just prefer it on this canvas for some reason. I'm not really sure why, to be fair. But anyway, it's a very, very comfortable design. So yeah, it's good. No complaints there. So now let's talk loom. So this has, well, it's got loom, I've already mentioned. It's got loomed bezel, and we've got loom on all the indices and the hands as well. And you know what? The loom is pretty good. It's definitely better than the other Pagani I used. It's still not perfect though. As you can see by the video, you know, the indices and bezel insert are quite bright, and they do last quite a long time as well. I was really, really impressed. I did a test at night, and it was really, really bright. So I've got no complaints there. My only complaint is with the handset. The handset just doesn't quite get as bright and last as long as the rest of it. So Pagani are definitely making moves in the right direction. They're definitely improving where they need to, but it's still not perfect or, you know, amazing, but it's getting better. They're getting better with every sort of watch that they make. The loom is getting better and better. So I might actually do, you know, a comparison between this and the other one, and see how it actually compares, you know, side by. I've not tested them side by side, but it would be interesting to see how good this newer model is to the older one as well. So if you guys are interested, you know, I'm gonna do that. But yeah, so that is, you know, that is that. The loom is not bad. So now we get on to that movement, and it is a Pearl DG5833A GMT. And I could not find any information about it. I think it's 21,600 beats per hour, and that's pretty much it. That's all I could find. And yeah, so if anyone knows any information about this, you know, like accuracy and everything, then that would be really appreciated if you could drop a comment. Accuracy wise though, I did do a little test obviously, so I couldn't find any information, and this one is running around 25 seconds fast per day. I did set it because it does have hacking seconds, which is another little feature, so you can hack the seconds hand, and I did set the time just about bang on, and it is running about 20 seconds fast. So it's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. Also, it's got really, really noisy rotor. That's my other problem with this movement. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. I'll just take it off camera to my mic. I don't know if you can. I'm not sure if you can actually hear that, but the rotor is quite noisy. It's not the worst rotor I've ever heard. It's not as bad as some of my Iotas, but it does have a slightly noisy rotor as well. Now we get on to actually in action with this movement, because I forgot to talk about that earlier. So if we just give that crown and unscrew, you can see it pops out, and then we've got this stage. You can see we can actually wind the movement, pop it out once, if we just do it carefully, and we can actually adjust the date. You can see that ticking over just there. So if I go a bit closer, you can just see we've got a quick set date, which is really nice. And then if we roll it the other way, you can see we can change the GMT hand, which is really nice that you can set it independently. Pull it out again, you can see that seconds hand does stop. Now we can adjust the time. You can also see the GMT hand moves with it as well. So it works independently and with the movement as well. So that's really, really nice. And then obviously just to finish it up, you just push it back in and then screw it in. Really easy to use crown as well, by the way, because there's no crown guards getting in the way. So, you know, it's really, really easy watch to use. And obviously you're going to have to wind this and use it every now and then, because power reserve, I think it's about 38 hours I tested it at. So it's not bad. Not amazing, but it's not bad. So anyway, what do we think of this watch? Now, this is where I'm a little bit stuck. Yes, there are a lot of things I like about it. I like the bezel insert colour. I like the GMT function. That works absolutely fine. It's keeping time reasonably. Really well built, really well finished. Very, very good looking watch. I love that dial colour. The printing on the dial's really nice and clean. There is a little bit of misprinting on the bezel insert just at the 10. I'll see if I can get a nice close-up of that, because there is a little bit of smudging. But all in all, I think it's a good watch. but it does have a lot of issues. Now, I have seen other people and they've got really lucky with theirs and they've got no QC issues with theirs at all. So there are good ones out there. Just the one I have does have quite a few issues. So don't let that put you off this watch, because it's a really good watch. Check out other people's reviews, because a lot of them that I've watched before I obviously got this watch, they've not got as many issues as mine. So I think I've just got the short straw here and got one with quite a few issues. So yeah, is it worth it? I'd say if you get a good one with no QC issues, definitely. But you might get unlucky, so it is a bit of a gamble. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. And of course, follow me on social media at Mr. Budget Watch. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.